Did anyone catch Tuesday's episode of First Take?
Pete Carroll been making bad decisions since college. Remember on fourth down, he took Reggie Bush out and gave the ball to Lindell White?
Yes, I do.
And he the one that threw the ball on the 1 yard line?
That's right. Well, they did say that Russell Wilson, I had sources tell me that Russell Wilson Audible, he made that call himself. It wasn't Bevel or Pete Carroll. It was Russell Wilson that made that call.
Anyone else catch what Stephen A. Smith said there? What he's referring to is Super Bowl 49, when the Seahawks infamously were on the 1 yard line and chose to throw the ball instead of running it with Marshawn Lynch. Now, my memory of the situation is that the play happened really fast. The Seahawks lined up pretty quickly and then snapped the ball. Play happens, Russell throws the interception, and Malcolm Butler becomes a household name. That's my memory of how that all went. But according to Stephen A. Smith's accusation here, it sounds like Russell Wilson called an audible play. So I thought, let's take a look at the video, let's go back to the game, and let's dig deep into this and figure out, hey, did Russell call an audible? And is it possible that the play call was actually supposed to be a run? And all these years, we just didn't know that it wasn't Pete Carroll and Darrell Bevell. Was it Russell Wilson? Before we dive deep into that, please remember to like and subscribe so that you can get more content from me and we can dig deeper into more situations like this, and we can talk more about football and those types of things. Please remember to like and subscribe. Okay, so let's take a look at the video. So Russell, he did move people around before the play started. Marshawn Lynch looked like he was a little bit confused about where he was supposed to be standing. So it's absolutely possible that Russell did in fact call an audible, and that's why Doug Baldwin goes out left all of a sudden. That's why Marshawn wasn't exactly sure where he was supposed to be standing. That's a possibility. And it's also possible that Pete Carroll has simply been covering up for Russell Wilson for all of these years. Now, why would Pete Carroll do that? You have to take into account that Russell Wilson was just finishing up his third NFL season, and it was time for the Seahawks to give him a contract. And that offseason actually ended up being the year that they gave him a contract, making him the second highest paid behind only Aaron Rodgers. Now, if that's the case, if Pete really has been covering for Russ all these years, it makes the 2023 accusation of something that happened in 2022 all the worse. Let me explain. It was reported by The Athletic that Russell Wilson, before he was traded to Denver, tried to get Pete Carroll and John Lynch fired. Now, if Pete Carroll really did cover up for Russ, it's a pretty crummy thing to do to try to get him fired no matter how many years have gone by. Going back to the play, my opinion, it wasn't necessarily an audible. An audible is when a quarterback comes to the line, looks at the alignment of the defense, and decides to call into another play. They've got code words and all kinds and hand signals and things they do to indicate to the other players that they need to audible. Peyton Manning was famous for doing this. He would often come up to the line and yell, "Omaha, Omaha," and then they would do something. And Omaha didn't always mean the same thing, he revealed years later, but it was an indicator that they were potentially going to audible, or sometimes not audible, because sometimes it was also a fake audible. Marshawn Lynch has talked about for years the fact that when the call came in to the huddle and Russell Wilson called for the pass play, that the entire team kind of looked at Marshawn, and Marshawn just went, "Okay, let's go, guys." And so that's been something that Marshawn Lynch has said for years. And even more recently, Pete Carroll came on to the Richard Sherman podcast and explained the decision to throw the ball there. Take a listen right here.
You guys are so mad at me and so pissed. I'm going to just tell you again. You guys couldn't hear it for years, but when we got down there, I think we had one, if I remember, we had one timeout. And so as soon as we got there, I said, one of these plays, we're going to have to throw it to get all four plays. Because I'm always in, make sure that we have a chance to get all four shots. So we run the first play. And I think what happened is Bill, late, he sends in the goal line team, and we had already sent in 11.
Right.
And so we're in 11 versus goal line. And so that went through the play callers, and that's what led them to throw it on that down.
Right.
And so that's what happened. It wasn't by design. There was no agenda. There was none of that. It was just the way we had prepared.
So it seems pretty clear to me that this wasn't an audible. Pete Carroll and Darrell Bevell, who's the Seahawks offensive coordinator at the time, they really did just choose a pass play. And their intention was for Russell to throw the ball to Ricardo Lockett or throw it away. And I'm not entirely sure why Stephen A. Smith would make this accusation. He says that he has sources that told him that it was an audible. Unless these are just like really unreliable sources, I don't see how that could have happened. I don't know where his information comes from, of course. My only thought is that right now, hating Russell Wilson is the new black. That is the new cool style thing to do. Everybody loves to hate on Russell right now. Now, this might sound funny coming from me when I just wrote an article a week ago titled "Russell Wilson Sucks Now," but what about Sean Payton? True, but I want to clarify that. Now, anytime that I have ever attacked Russell Wilson or talked negatively of Russell Wilson, it's always had to do with his business decisions. It's always had to do with him forcing his way out of Seattle. It's had to do with his play on the field. It's had to do with some very specific things as a player that I think we are all entitled to criticize and comment on. I have also made videos in the past being very clear that I think who Russell Wilson is as a person belongs in one box, and who Russell Wilson is as a player and teammate belongs in a completely different box. This box is the one that's up for question, the player and teammate one. The charitable man, the human being off the field, is not really up for question in my mind. This is a man who, when he was here in Seattle, went to the Seattle Children's Hospital every week and met with those sick kids and tried to inspire them and tried to do something good for the community. And I think he did do good for the community. This is a man who in Denver does good things for the community. Well, so now I'll toss the question to you. Did Russell Wilson audible on this play? Has Pete been covering to protect Russell for all of these years? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below.